Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Dice Miner was another game I got off Kickstarter. I think the components looked neat, the game wasn't very expensive, and it looked like a fun little light filler. And I was right on all three accounts. This is a dice drafting game that uses a mountain so you can only take certain dice at a certain time. The mountain looks very, very impressive, and the game looks very, very cool on the table, and it's an eye-pleasing experience. If somebody's walking, what is that? What are you doing over there? And I like that kind of aspect. It has a very good solo mode to it, and I like the solo experience, which plays very different than a multiplayer game. At its heart, it's a light game. So you're just drafting dice, and you're going to be re-rolling them and trying to get certain combinations in order to score. A little bit of pressure luck with getting the pips in the straight and the order that you need to get them in, and what you're able to get. But every time you take a dice, you're leaving other dice available and leaving new dice that are available now because you chose this one. Now these two are available for your opponent or opponents. So it's a very fun experience. Now, it is light. When I got to the third round and there were no dice to draft anymore, we were just kind of re-rolling our dice and seeing what happened and hoping for the best. Kind of a fun experience. I liked it. Each round played a little bit different, and it kept that variability going through. And it has, different player powers that you can have, etc. Very light game, okay? A very light dice drafting game that has a wow factor coming off the table. It's one I liked. I didn't expect too much for it. High in the luck, sure. But there are decisions to be made, and each round of the game plays a little differently, which is a bonus for me. Absolute keeper. I really like this game as a light filler, and I like the solo mode in it too. I may like the solo mode better, maybe, but this is one I really did enjoy. Here is Dice Miner. First thing I should... This is a very thick box. I mean, this is going to take up... This is unique. Now, what you're going to get here is one of those magnetic openings that you're going to have there. You're probably used to. You're going to get some words in here. It's a very nice box, actually. First thing you see is some rules for the solo miners, if you invested in that kind of thing. And then what you're going to get is the rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. You're going to get a cup to roll your dice. Unlike Stone Age, it doesn't stink. It's very, very nice, actually. This might be something you want to keep out, roll a little bit there. You're going to get a bag, which will have plenty of dice in here. All kinds of different little six-sided dice, and these are very nice dice. You're going to get a scoring sheet that you'll have here that you can utilize. You're going to get a bunch of these tiles, which will have different powers on them. Very nice. These are very nice quality tiles, to be honest. And they're going to get a mound. This is kind of what sold the game for most people. It's like 3D printed mound type things. Very, very cool. And it's very, very nice. So it's a piece of plastic, but it's utilized in the game pretty well. And as you can see, you're going to put the dice in here, and they're going to kind of fall down here and fill up. Excellent piece, actually. And that's why the box had to be so deep, was to fit that mountain in. Otherwise, I think it fits what it's trying to do. So here's the rulebook for Dice Miner. It's kind of printed on weird paper. It kind of has a gloss to it. You're going to get a picture of the components over here with an overview and how to set up the game. A little bit of a solo mode that you can utilize down here. And then you'll jump right into the gameplay of it. Everything is kind of shared of how things go through, what the heroes do. It's very easy, very light game. Very easy to score, very easy to play. Your victory over here and how to win. You probably need maybe 10 or 15 minutes. There's no play rate on the back. It's just credits, etc. Probably need about 10 or 15 minutes to read through this. It's kind of weird. First time I read, like, what? We don't get any dice in the third phase? That would have been nice. I think I should have pointed that out. Like, yeah, that's normal. Be aware for that. But otherwise, the game works. Just follow the directions exactly what they say. Leave your thoughts and the way you think it should work aside, and this will work very easy, very streamlined, very fun game. So the first thing everybody's going to do is going to pick a hero. You can just pick one or randomize it, whatever you want to do. And they're going to give you different stuff. So they're going to give you icons or dice, as you can see here, that you will be able to utilize as you play through. So everybody will have one of these, and this is kind of be an ongoing power or an icon that they'll have during the game. Very easy to use. Then you're going to have your mountain out here. It's going to draw from the bag. And you're going to take the dice, and you're just going to fill up the mountain. And just let it kind of go through down here. And as you can see, it's going to fill up pretty quickly. You can just put it at the top and let it go where it may go. You don't want to put a whole lot of thought into this. Just kind of let it go in. And then you will be ready to play the game. So the game is very easy. It's going to be drafting dice from here. The only trick to it is that when you take a die, it has to be one on top. And so this had the one out. When I take this, it will stay on the one. The next person could take this one if they wanted to. You couldn't take this 4 because things would be on it. And maybe you'd want to take this beer thing over here.
And then now you have some options. I could take this, I could take this, I could take this. So the options start coming forward about what you might want to take and kind of plan your way out as you're taking dice. Very easy to do. Now, if you ever have a beer in your trove, on your turn, you could spin this. I could just roll the die, give it to this person, and now I would be eligible to take 2 dice from the trove, or from the mountain, because I gave them my die. Once the mountain is empty, you can take all of your magic, or the dice with this signal, and this will give you reroll. So this one will give me like 1 reroll. This one will give this guy 2 rerolls. So you just set this aside, and based on your strategy, you can just reroll 2 dice, and now you have those dice. This guy would set this aside, and maybe I want to reroll this 4 for whatever strategic reason, and you would just get a reroll of that die. Now, one thing that's important is that if you have one with 2, you can't pick 1. It has to be 2 dice that you're rerolling. Then what you're going to do is you're going to score. So I'm just going to kind of show you how scoring works. So you will be able to score as long as you have things that are in a row. So let's say you had 1, 2, 3. You could score that. You could put a 4 there, and this 1 could start another row. But these 2 4s that I have will be useless because I can't go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no 2 or 3. And that's where the rerolls will kind of help you out because let's say I had a reroll. I had this 4. Maybe I'm hoping to get a 2. I didn't get it. So then I would score a pip for each one showing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These wouldn't score me any because they didn't fit into the straight or the consecutive line that I was going for. Now the gems are pretty easy. You're going to score 1 point for each gem. But if you have the most, it will double. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9. This guy over here had actually none. So instead of scoring 9, I'm going to score 18 points for those. These cave-ins are negative points. So if you look here, there's 3 cave-ins on here. So that would give me negative points unless I had a pickaxe that would take care of that. So if I had a pickaxe on one of these, it would block all of the cave-ins, thus making them positive points. So this would go from -3 to 3 points. But in this case, I didn't have any. I just had 2 shields, so I would score -3 points for that. And the same thing would happen for the dragons. In this case, I have 2 dragons that are out here. Those would normally be negative points, but because I have at least 1 shield, those become positive. So the cave-ins and the dragons work exactly the same, except for they require a pickaxe or a shield, depending on if they're the cave-in or the dragon. But in the example that I had 2 shields. Now, if you have 2 shields or pickaxes, they become multipliers. So in this case, I'd have 2 times 2 would be 4, and the -3 points from this. So if I have multiples, let's say I was in a situation where I had 3 shields, this has 2 dragons on it, 3 shields, 2 times 3 is 6. They become a multiplier for you. And the last thing you're going to have are these chests. And any chest would allow you to keep, so in this case I have 2 treasure chests. I could pick 2 of these, like say I wanted these 2 dice. Or something like that. I can set these aside and I get to keep them on this icons in the next round. Then any dice that I wasn't able to save, I would re-roll and I would have those for the next round. And then we would fill up the mountain per normal for the second round, and I would draft again. Keeping in mind, in the third round, there will not be any dice here. There won't be any dice left over. You're just stuck with your re-rolls in the treasure chest that you have in order of what you're to say to score the most points. After 3 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. It's really that easy to play.
Who should buy this game? Well, first of all, you're going to need to be okay with some luck in your game. If you're looking for this next strategic game of nothing but strategy, this is not it. If you like dice rolling and mitigating that damage and kind of playing that mental game with your opponent, I take this, these are going to be available. Very cool aspect to it. And you like a visually appealing game. This is going to be it. For something so simple as dice drafting, they made it really, really appealing. Very fun game, one that I totally do enjoy a lot. What I'd recommend, if you like solo gaming, it feels more like a puzzle. It's a very cool aspect to it. And one I can recommend. But you're going to have to be okay with the luck factor and the lightness of this game. Because it's not a very deep game. It's not a very heavy game. It's a light dice drafting game, but one that we have enjoyed quite a bit. Keeper for me.